Hi, Professor. I'm Kyle Recruital. This is my project for project number 3 in mythology. I decided to do Batman vs. Hercules. All right, so my project's objective is to compare a modern superhero to a classical hero and to figure out if there are any similarities between what triggered them to live lives of great heroics. So basically, my modern superhero, as you can see on the title page, is Batman, and my classical hero is Hercules. So my primary goal of my project is to find the similarities between what triggered them to live lives as heroes. So basically, why did they start to do these heroics? For Batman, it's because at a very young age, he witnessed his mother and father get shot and killed right in front of him. He was taken in, and basically, after that night, he vowed to become a crusader against crime, basically. For Hercules, kind of the same thing, how to deal with his family. Basically, his, I guess what you would call second mom, Hera, basically vows to destroy him and curses him with a spell that makes him kill people that he think are bad people, but actually end up becoming family. So both heroes, modern and classical, start becoming heroes, start doing these heroics because they had a very tragic origin. My secondary goal, basically, it's very broad. What do these heroes symbolize in their specific time periods, and also what else do they have in common? So basically, Batman is a hero that we can all very much relate to. He's not a Superman, he's not Thor, he's basically not a god. He's just an everyday man who doesn't have any unnatural powers. He's just very smart and he can fight very well. So it's very relatable because he's just a human being, basically. Hercules is the same way, in a sense. He is a demigod, so he's not technically human, but the people gave he gives people inspiration for mental toughness and mental and physical toughness, as well as it gives people a symbol of stability in time of chaos. So basically, real quick, what constitutes a hero? In modern day, a hero is distinguished by their courage and their ability. They're admired for their brave deeds and noble qualities. And it can also be a woman. A hero can be a woman in modern day. Whereas in classical times, in mythological heroes, they are braver and stronger, usually, than the normal man. They achieve great deeds as well. And but it's basically only mentioned that they are only men, basically. So there's a few things common there. They both do deeds. They both have great deeds. They're both distinguished between their courage and their ability. But heroes in general do change over time with society. They're not always the same in every culture. They're not always the same in every time period. So they do change, but they are usually a person with courage and some ability. So quick story of Batman, because he is our modern hero that we were talking about. He is the most popular and he's one of the most popular and most identifiable superheroes of the modern world. He was created in 1939 by artist Bob Kane and writer Bill Finger. He was created so people could have a hero that they could relate to, and he's part of the DC universe. Because of that, he has many different variations. The licensing for Batman is has a quite wide variety. So he is shown in comics, he's shown in TV, he's shown in movies, he's even on some radio shows. So there's a lot of different versions of Batman, but basically all the versions of him they share the same family story. They basically share the same origins from where he came from. A little bit more on him. Again, his parents were killed in front of him. This is what caused him to vow to become the Dark Knight of Gotham, where he was born. This is basically what made him want to become someone that would fight crime. His powers are not, once again, unnatural. They are very natural. At a young age, he started traveling the world. He mastered every single fighting style in the world. And he studied criminology, forensics, and criminal psychology. So he's extremely smart, but he's not unnaturally smart. He has a secret headquarters under his mansion known as the Batcave. This is where he becomes Batman because he is Bruce Wayne at the heart of everything. He is a businessman. He's extremely wealthy, extremely smart, but when stuff gets real and he has to fight, he becomes Batman. So this is Batman, and this is Bruce Wayne. There's a clear difference. He could be walking on the street wherever he wants, and no one would know he's Batman because he keeps his identity well kept under wraps. Okay, so the cultural context of Batman, he's been around for 79 years. He's been around for a very long time. Why is this? It's because he's very relatable. He's just a man struggling to overcome the burdens that he's put on himself. He has no unnatural power or intellect. He has become basically just a hero that everyone can relate to. Batman basically has changed with culture over the 79 years, but because of that, he's also had his hand in changing culture itself. So once again, he's always a hero that we can relate to, one that we can understand and feel for, and one that we can aspire to be like. So the backstory of Hercules, real quick. He is one of the most popular and one of the most identifiable figures from ancient Greek mythology, but he is extremely popular and identifiable today. You can go all around the world. You could talk about Hercules and people would know who basically you're talking about. He even has his own movie from Disney. He was the son of Zeus and the son of Alchemy, Zeus being the king of gods, and Alchemy being immortal, so this makes him a demigod. Basically, so Alchemy, you probably know, is not the legitimate wife of Zeus. The legitimate wife of Zeus is Hera, and Zeus basically took over the body, or he disguised himself as Alchemy's husband, visited her one night in bed, and impregnated her. Because of this, because of the fact that Hercules is Zeus's illegitimate son, she vowed to destroy Hercules, and she put him under the spell that basically made him mistake bad people, or mistake his family for bad people, causing him to kill them. One of the reasons he's so popular and so identifiable is because he's extremely relatable, just like Batman. He suffers like mortals. He can make a mess of things just like any man or woman, but at the same time, he can do things that no man or woman could. He performed amazing feats such as wrestling death and traveling under the world twice. He did the 12 labors, such as killing the Hydra, stuff like that. His story served a purpose. It basically served to show regular men and women that if bad things could happen to him, if bad things could happen to Hercules, they had nothing to complain about regarding the disappointments and tragedies in their own lives. Hercules basically gave people inspiration for mental and physical toughness. He was extremely strong, extremely resilient, and he's a symbol of stability in the midst of chaos. So it gave people back in the day, and still people today, a hero that they can relate to. Cultural context of Hercules, pretty similar to Batman's. He's been around for a very long time, since the classical periods. I couldn't find a date where he actually started popping up, but he's been around for a long time. He's made it through all this because, once again, people like heroes that they can relate to. He's not a Zeus, he's not a Thor, he's not technically a god, even though he wants to be. So people can relate to him, people can feel for him. He's similar to Batman because basically, like we just talked about, he's very relatable. He struggles with things just like Batman. We understand and feel for him just like we do Batman, and we aspire to be like him just like we do Batman. The only difference is really that he is a demigod and he has some unnatural powers. So the origin stories compared, if you look at something like this, if you look at their stories very generally, you will notice that there is, on the surface, not very many similarities. Batman is human, Hercules is a demigod. That's not similar at all, obviously. Hercules is extremely strong, has unnatural strength and resilience, while Batman has no unnatural power. He just fights very well and is very intelligent. So, at the surface, there is really no similarities. But if we dive deeper, we can pull some similarities into the light where we can talk about them. So one of the recurring themes of both stories is basically what motivated them to become a hero. How are they born a hero, basically? Both of them basically are, both of their heroic stances are born basically of tragic origin. Bruce's or Batman's is basically born again from when his parents were killed right in front of him at a very young age, and Hercules is his heroic origin is basically born when his, I guess you could say, stepmother basically vows to destroy him. The similarities in this theme are they're both born of tragic origin. Both of those tragic origins have to do with their family, and both these tragic origins help define them as who they are and showed them what they needed to do later in their life and to shape them to who they are now. Other similarities between the heroes, just real quick, they're not as important as that first one we just talked about, but they're still important nonetheless. They both carry a burden that they struggle with that they don't need to. Hercules taking on the 12 labors, killing the Hydra, wrestling bulls and stuff like this. He didn't need to do this, but he wanted to because he wanted to prove himself worthy to be a god. He wanted to prove Hera wrong. Batman, on the other hand, carried the burden of trying to protect his city of Gotham and trying to protect the citizens within it. They both didn't need to do these things, but they did it because they felt that it was right and they felt that they really wanted to. Secondly, once again, I've been saying that this entire project, they are extremely relatable. People feel for these heroes. People aspire to be like these heroes. People kind of put themselves in these heroes' shoes. People really like relatable heroes, and both of these heroes are relatable in the same way. Conclusion, basically on the surface, if you are just looking at these heroes, not diving into their stories, you won't find very many similarities. A lot of people told me to do Hulk and Hercules because they both are extremely strong, but that's not what this project was about. This project was to find out, kind of, at least for me, what motivated them to become heroes. We found out that they both were motivated by something very tragic at the start of their lives, and because of this, I think this turned out to be a better project, at least for myself, than something like Hulk or Hercules would have been. So at least for me, and I think probably a lot of other people, it's very clear that superheroes of the modern day are inspired by classical heroes. They share similarities that can't be ignored, and I truly believe without classical heroes, we wouldn't have any modern heroes today, or at least not the ones we have now. Quickly to wrap up the end of this, I just wanted to say thank you. I wouldn't have been able to finish this project by Friday, the original due date, because of my grandpa passing away, but you allowed me to have a little bit more time to work on it, and I greatly appreciate that. I really do. Thank you so much. At the bottom, you can see here, and I'll also link it in the email I send you. This is my grandfather's obituary, just for a little bit of proof that I wasn't lying or something like that. But thank you so much again.